Here I am talking, and my mic was muted. Oh my God. Thanks for letting me know, beat after beat. I appreciate it. How many minutes did I get in? I got about 3 minutes in. Wow. I'd set it up at the beginning of the show and then nothing, man. So anyways, I got a notification, and then of course beat after beat looking out for me. So yeah, I'm sorry. So there you go. So let me start over. Hey, it's your good friend, it's your pal, it's your compadre. It's TC, everybody. Welcome to Rock This Town Live. We are here every Monday through Friday, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern. That is 5 on the Central Time Zone, and then 3 on the West Coast, which is also Phoenix time right now. And it's like having deja vu all over again. It's like Yogi Berra is here. If you know that expression from Yogi Berra, one of the classic yogiisms from back in the day. So anyway, what's going on the show today? Well, we're talking about Vince Neil, who revealed he had a stroke. Motley Crue, of course, opening their residency in Las Vegas tonight. So that's very cool. I'll go over my top 6 Pink Floyd songs of all time because a box set for the 50th anniversary of Wish You Were Here was announced today. Very cool. And then, the Battle Royale today, the Throwdown. 2 classic albums released on September 12th. Actually, there could have been 3, but I didn't include the third because I couldn't get a confirmation. But Stop Making Sense, the live concert film from Talking Heads, which is one of the greatest live records of all time, in my humble opinion. That I think was released September 12th, but I couldn't get a confirmation on that. But it was released in September of 1984. But anyways, I decided to go with Aerosmith, a classic record from the Boys, and a little bit of, it's not Lulu by Metallica, but it is a little outside the box. So we'll talk about that coming up, among other stuff, some cool vinyl announcements. And now it is time to relive the past. I always love reliving the past. Let me move this over here so I don't have to keep looking to my left there. So there you go. So this happened back in 1999. This was at Edgefest up in Minneapolis, St. Paul area. Actually, it's just across the border into Wisconsin. Minneapolis, St. Paul. I guess if you were driving from St. Paul, it's probably about 25 miles into Wisconsin. So it's very close. And then the Somerset city, famous for their tubing. So I grew up around this area. So I've heard horror stories about people going tubing, and they're tubing down the Apple River in Somerset, and all these, and then you see like a Baby Ruth floating down. And I'm not talking about a Baby Ruth candy bar. I'm talking about somebody dropped a deuce on a Baby Ruth and it goes floating past you on the Apple River. I never went tubing on the Apple River, so there's that. But anyways, Edgefest happened in Somerset, Wisconsin. I was at this show, actually one of them. Def Leppard was headlining one of the shows, and The Offspring was headlining the other one. And then Hole, which I think had to cancel, if memory serves. This was the show where I think Buck Cherry, me and a buddy Tim, got to the show, and we got into the venue, and I think we saw Buck Cherry, because I just kind of wanted to see the headliners in this particular case, though there was some other good bands on the venue, on the bill rather. But we went and saw Buck Cherry, and then they were opening for Hole and Def Leppard. But I think Hole, if I remember right, had to cancel. So Def Leppard came out and said, we're going to do one extra song since Hole couldn't make it tonight or something like that. If memory serves, I'm not sure. Maybe it was Buck Cherry that canceled. I'm thinking, come on, Joe Elliott and the boys, one extra song. Come on. Give me at least 4 or 5, though. Maybe it's just like, well, it is what it is. But Motorhead was on the bill. What is that? That's probably Less Than Jake. I think Marvelous 3 was on the bill as well. Local H. Remember those guys? Yeah, you remember those guys. The Offspring. Very nice. Moby and Cake were also on the bill. So Def Leppard was a little bit Mighty Boss Tones as well. Wow. I'm guessing Def Leppard got some dirty looks from some of these hipster doofus artists like Moby, as well, maybe Cake and Mighty Boss Tones specifically. So it's a show I went to, and it was a pretty good show. So there you go. That's That's very nice. Hey, Beat After Beat, I missed your comment from the other night, so I'll have to try to track that down. So I apologize. I haven't seen that yet. And hey, Dylan, thanks for hanging out. So, all right, what's going on? Let me move this over here, and let's get to the live stuff. So the big news kind of today in the world of rock is that Motley Crue frontman Vince Neil revealed he suffered a stroke. This comes from our friends at the Music Universe. Buddy Ian, I believe, wrote this. It says Motley Crue frontman Vince Neil reveals he suffered a stroke last Christmas that caused the band to delay their new Las Vegas residency, which starts tonight, of course, in Vegas. He did that interview with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. He says, I had a stroke. My whole left side went out, he says. I had to learn to walk again, and that was tough. I can only imagine. The doctor said I didn't think I'd be able to go back on stage. I go, no, I'm going to do it. Watch and see. So that's awesome that Vince is back there. Neil revealed that the band canceled the first part of the residency so he could undergo a required medical procedure. The rocker says he underwent physical therapy for months at his Nashville home, where he learned to regain his strength. I wonder if Mick Mars reached out to Vince to wish him well, because I've heard that Mick, not the biggest fan of Vince Neil, and this is when Mick was in the band. So anyway, so there you go. He says it's been tough, but I'm back. I'm 90 to 95% to where I was before, and it's going to be great. So that's cool. That's cool. I love hearing a story of, I guess, in some ways, recovery. And I was going to say redemption, but it's probably more recovery. So awesome that Vince Neil is rocking it tonight in Vegas, along with Nikki Sixx, and of course, Tommy Lee, and then John Five, and then backing vocals and tracking. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Anyway, so there you go. So this is fun. This comes from our friends at Revolver. I just listened to this song before the show. Limp Bizkit is back with their first song, I think, in 4 years. It's called Making Love to Morgan Wallen. I shit you not. Morgan Wallen, of course, the huge country superstar that had that big song maybe about 2 years ago. Last night, we let the liquor talk, blah, 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 blah. It was a really big hit. It was a really good song, actually. Morgan Wallen has actually done some stuff that's really good. Audrey and her mom, big fans of Morgan Wallen. My sister-in-law, huge fan of Morgan Wallen. I think my niece is actually a fan of Morgan Wallen as well. I'm indifferent on him a little bit, but I kind of like him. So there you go. Amanda, on the other hand, who worked in the record store, not a fan of Morgan Wallen. So there's that. So, but this one's called Making Love to Morgan Wallen. So what a title. It only mentions Morgan Wallen at the very end of the song. And it's probably more tongue-in-cheek. And I think that Morgan Wallen doesn't have a pole stuck up his keister, which is good. In this day and age, there's a lot of people that have broomsticks stuck up their backsides. So perhaps maybe Morgan Wallen will show up and do the song with Limp Bizkit at some point in the future. I think that would be super fun. So there you go. So yeah, it's Limp Bizkit is back with a new song. And it kind of slaps. I read that by Mitch LaFon over at Facebook. He said, "Yeah, the song kind of slaps," and I gotta say, it's a pretty good song. So if you're into Limp Bizkit, well, then there you go. Check it out. Those guys. The more I hear of Limp Bizkit, I know they're kind of nuts, but the more I kind of like them. So there you go. Speaking of Limp Bizkit, apparently Sick New World, which was supposed to happen in Vegas, but then nothing happened there. It is what it is, I suppose. There's rumors of it returning to Vegas. I think it got canceled last year. Let's find this story from Metal Injection. It looks like Sick New World might rise again. The Las Vegas Festival, which imploded in 2025 after lofty plans to book Metallica and Linkin Park collapsed under spiraling overheads and sluggish ticket sales, has started teasing a comeback for 2026. Fans who caught System of a Down's massive stadium show noticed a familiar animated mascot from past Sick New World's lineups appearing on the venue screens. That, coupled with a new sign-up portal at Sick New World Fest has stoked speculation that the festival will return. I think that's the big issue there. The 2025 edition of Sick New World had promised to expand beyond its new metal core, with headliners Metallica and Linkin Park reportedly commanding $5 million guarantees. I mean, Metallica, I think you could probably pay Metallica $5 million. You're going to make your money back on that and then some, but paying Linkin Park, and actually Chester actually gets a shout out in that new Limp Bizkit song, ironically, but paying Linkin Park $5 million? No, I don't think so. But if you're bringing in System of a Down and paying them big money because they can sell out a stadium, they can sell out some shows, okay, that makes sense. The other bands, I guess, connected with this are what, Deftones and Korn. You know, I think they'd be pretty good, but you're not going to be able to pay them $5 million. Neither one of those bands. So maybe you get Metallica. Maybe they're like, well, we got to pay Metallica an extra $1 million to get them back because we kind of pissed them off last time, but we'll see. So there you go. Sick New World Festival potentially coming back. And finally, in the news today, oh God, it never ends. In 1982, they started their farewell tour. And the Who has now announced, and what's this site from? This is from the rockrevival.com. The Who kicked off their farewell tour recently in Florida, again, for the 100th time. But fans in Philadelphia and Atlantic City were left having to wait a little bit longer to say goodbye. Those concerts, of course, were postponed. Blah, 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 a bling, 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 bling. What is this? Anyway, so is this the story I'm looking for? Yeah, it is. Anyways, the Who have announced their final show, which is going to be, I think, in Palm Springs. Is it going to be their final show? It's not. But hey, if you want to go to Palm Springs and see Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend for the last time, hopefully not, hopefully they remain healthy as much as they can be at their age and keep doing it up in style. So that's it. Let's get out of here. Let's move on. Let's check the chat. Why haven't I checked the chat? Because the children, what's her name? Carol Kane in that one movie hadn't checked the chat as well. So there you go. Beat after beat, AI Vince. Yeah, you could bring Vince. Actually, what we could do is I'm thinking if Vince doesn't work out with Motley Crue and needs some more time to recuperate, you could do AI Vince. That's a great idea from Beat After Beat. Or how about other Vinces? What are some other famous Vinces? So if I'm thinking about famous Vinces, I can't talk. Vince is, let's see, famous Vinces. Oh my God. That's a hard thing to say there. I can think of one, Vince Gill, who's now, I guess, in the Eagles in some ways. Let's see who else. Vincent Clark. I don't know who that is. Oh, apparently he was part of Depeche Mode and also Yazoo. And he is still with us, so we could bring him back. Vince Guaraldi, who unfortunately is no longer with us, who did obviously the Peanut stuff. So there you go. Famous Vincents. Let's see. Oh, Vince McMahon. He's 80 years old. He's a little older than. How about Vince McMahon of the WWE doing Motley Crue vocals? So there you go. Vince Carter, formerly of the Toronto Raptors, I believe. Vince Vaughn. All right, Vince Vaughn. Swingers. A little Vegas action there with Swingers. You always double down on 11. Vincent Price. That is a beautiful idea. I don't know how to do that laugh at the end of. There you go. James agrees with Vincent Price as well. I don't know how to do that laugh at the end of the Thriller thing, but so there you go. Anybody else? Oh, Vince Gilligan, the guy that was the creator of Breaking Bad. Not too shabby. Vince Lombardi, though. Vince Lombardi's dead, of course. Vincent Price is also dead. Anybody else that I can think of? I'm looking through a list of people. There was the quarterback, Vince Young, who played for the Tennessee Titans way back when. And then I think that's probably going to be it. I don't really see anybody else there. No, I don't see any. Oh, Vince Coleman, St. Louis Cardinals, baseball star, stole 100 bases in 1982, I think. So something like that. And I'm sure there's somebody that was on The Sopranos, Vincent Frank. No, wait, that would be Frank Vincent. So sorry, never mind. But of course, Philly Leotardo, he is gone as well. So let me close out of this and get back to everything. So not too shabby. Vincent and Vinnie Vincent. Rich, that's a great idea. We get Vinnie Vincent on lead vocals instead of Vince Neil. I don't know if anybody will want to hear that, but still, that would be super fun. And hey, Rich, thanks for hanging out. All right, let's get to our battle tonight. On September 12th of 1989, after they had released Permanent Vacation a couple of years previous, the boys in Aerosmith were back. And this is when the ballad started. And I started to tune out, unfortunately. I turned the dial, but still a very good record, I gotta say. Produced by Bruce Fairbairn, came out September 12th, 1989, sold over 7 million copies when they were selling records back in the day. Though records are selling again these days, very much so. Love It in Elevator, pretty good song. Mr. Tyler, Going Down. I feel like I was, and what else was on Pump? I know, obviously, Janie's Got a Gun, What It Takes. Oh, The Other Side. The Other Side was actually in True Romance, the Quentin Tarantino written movie that was, who was the director of True Romance? I can't remember his name. The guy that did Top Gun as well. Let's see, True Romance. Oh, Tony Scott. That's the guy who did that as well. So let me see. Aerosmith, Pump. I thought there were some other deep cuts on this record, but maybe I'm thinking of Permanent Vacation. No, I am thinking about this record. There are some great deep cuts on this one. So you got The Other Side. You got Janie's Got a Gun, of course. Love It in Elevator. No, I'm thinking about the other record, so never mind. I don't know what I'm doing. Crap. So anyways, all right, cool. And then on the other side, and you have a preference here, Metallica's Death Magnetic, produced by Rick Rubin. This is kind of a Metallica turd, in my humble opinion. The Day That Never Comes, All Nightmare Long, Cyanide. Cyanide is pretty good. The Unforgiven 3, I'll stick with the Unforgiven 1 and 2. It's like Godfather 1 and 2. And then you get to Godfather 3, not so good, Al. To me, this is a no-brainer. I mean, I love Metallica, but no. I mean, other than Lulu, this record, Death Magnetic, was just not a great record in my humble opinion. Yeah, so got to go with Aerosmith Pump, just because of The Other Side. I love that song. Janie's Got a Gun. It stood the test of time pretty well. Love It in Elevator. You know, it is what it is. So there you go. Who do you got? What are you thinking there? You going Metallica? I guess beat after beat's going Metallica. Wow. Little Death Magnetic. A Duran Durani going Death Magnetic. I didn't like the sound of this record. Maybe that's what it was. And there was a couple of records that I just didn't like the sound of. I guess this record maybe sounds a little bit like, what is that? And Justice for All in some ways. It just has a less of a production shine to it in some ways, and maybe that's why maybe some people like it. I love And Justice for All, but this record, not so much in my humble opinion. So let's see, what am I missing there? So Death Magnetic, Hardwired to Self-Destruct, Lulu, nobody wants that, and I guess that's all kind of I'm missing there. So yeah, Saint Anger. That was okay as well. I'd rather listen to Saint Anger than Death Magnetic, but that's just me. Rich likes Pump and saw the tour. Ooh, very nice. I wonder who opened for Aerosmith on that tour. Let's see if we can ask our friends in AI world who opened for Aero. And Rich might remember who he saw on the Pump tour. Let's see. There we go. We'll see what comes of that. So, yeah, I'm going Aerosmith. So it's kind of a mixed bag here. Beat after beat going Metallica. Yeah, well, Lulu was horrible. I concur indubitably. Rich and I going Pump. I know Jen would go Pump. She's not a fan of Death Magnetic. Dylan, James, not sure which way you guys would go. Dylan, kind of a younger guy, so maybe he hasn't heard either of these records. Though I suspect, based on Dylan's tastes, he might go Aerosmith, but we'll see. So there you go. Apparently, Skid Row was one of the opening acts on the Pump tour for Aerosmith. Joan Jett also opened some shows. The Cult, Poison, Warrant, the Black Crowes, and the Choir Boys. So there you go. So was I. Beat After Beat. Beat After Beat just said that it was he was raised on rock, heavy metal, and new wave. That is my groove too, and I like some '80s pop as well. '80s had some good pop. Rich says Black Crowes, and boom, backed up indeed. Let's see. For example, the Black Crowes opened on June 30th, 1990. And apparently, Metallica played a show with Aerosmith at some point. And Metallica was big, but they weren't maybe as big as Aerosmith then. But they were the next year they would release the Black album. So there you go. Dylan says not a big fan of Metallica. I've not really heard either album, but I like Aerosmith. So there you go. So Aerosmith seems to be the big winner today. Beat After Beat, you're in the minority, but I understand because it is Metallica. All right. Pink Floyd, baby, is announced a reissue of Wish You Were Here. Very nice. And the problem with this, hey, there's my name. I don't know why that's showing up, but it is. It keeps showing. Hi. That is so weird that comes up on some of the things now. Let me see if I can fix that. Oh, nope, that's not it. Profile. I guess I could just do that. And it takes it away, but whatever. Doesn't matter. So this is coming out, I think in December, it's been announced for. They're doing a box set, and this is a color version, obviously on flame vinyl to represent the cover of the Wish You Were Here record. Probably, I think it is, yeah, it's definitely my favorite Pink Floyd record. What's your Pink Floyd record, if you have one? This is going to cost $45. You got to be kidding me. You got to be shitting. This is one record. It is one single record. I know it's a great record, but come on. What in the holy hell is that? $45? It's probably going to sell out, though, honestly, because there's not a lot of color vinyl when it comes to Pink Floyd. It's kind of a cool color. It's not as cool as the Dark Side of the Moon reissue that came out a couple of years ago, but still, it's pretty cool. So there you go. And the box set's going to be $249 if you want the whole spiel. So that's like 3 LPs with extra tracks. You got a Blu-ray Atmos. You've got some CDs in that. You got a booklet. Pretty cool, in my humble opinion. I mean, for $200 more, you get the whole damn box set. And I guess you get the vinyl it's on clear vinyl on this one, the 3 LP clear vinyl. But I could see Pink Floyd fans, because we're Pink Floyd fans, buying both the yellow and the box set to have both iterations. So there you go. Beat After Beat says, I would rather eat $45. I thought that too in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 2000s, in the aughts. But now that we've gotten to the roaring 20s, I like Pink Floyd. Took me 40 years to like Pink Floyd, but now I like Pink Floyd. So there you go. Green Day is reissuing again for the 18th time, it seems. Dookie. Last year there was an anniversary edition. Now we're getting like a strawberry colored version of the record. $33, single record. Okay. Not the worst price, but not the best price either. That comes via our friends at Warner Music, Warner Brothers. If it would have been, of course, our friends at Universal, it probably would have been $39, unfortunately. So there you go. Bring Me the Horizon, 10th anniversary edition of this bad boy. Not too shabby. That is coming out, what is that, December 12th. That's going to run $30 only. Very nice. Very nice. 10th anniversary of that record on black and kind of white splatter, I suppose that is. So there you go. And then finally, you got to go to Target for this one. Tame Impala is doing an exclusive with Target, clear vinyl for their current record. Actually, there's a bunch of other artists doing that as well, including the 1975. So a couple of other things there if you're interested in that one. All right. Here comes my friend Beat After Beat's favorite part of the show, right? Am I right or am I right? Right. What movie's that from? Well, that's what I should do is the name of the tune. So I do have a name to that tune coming up after the Pink Floyd. I forgot about it yesterday. Anyways, but I do have a one coming up, but I should do the Sonny and Cher one from Groundhog Day. Bill Murray lying in the bed. So I've probably given it away for next time, but yeah, there you go. All right, top 6 Pink Floyd songs, in my humble opinion. I have nothing from Dark Side of the Moon. That is meant to be no disrespect from Dark Side of the Moon. Do you have a favorite Pink Floyd song? Are you like, oh my God, you're so stupid. What are you doing, man? You're leaving this song off. You're leaving that song off. I've come to like a lot of songs here from Pink Floyd in the last, and in fact, I love the whole Wish You Were Here record. A lot of the Wall record is great. I love Momentary Lapse of Reason. And if we talk about live stuff, boom, so good with Delicate Sound of Thunder and Pulse. Anyways, number 6, I've got Goodbye Blue Sky, a song I discovered maybe about 2 years ago and realized that Def Leppard's Hysteria lifted that kind of that dun 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 from Goodbye Blue Sky. And then Metallica lifted another part for, I think it might be Not For Whom the Bell Tolls. What's the song? Anyways, I digress. Learning to Fly, number 5. I love that song from Momentary Lapse of Reason. You'll see something common here. David Gilmour on vocals on all these songs. I definitely prefer David Gilmour stuff to Roger Waters. The Roger Waters stuff is really, really good, but the David Gilmour stuff is just amazing. Number 4, Young Lust from The Wall. Very nice. Number 3, Run Like Hell, the live version of that from Delicate Sound of Thunder. Nick Mason rocking the drums at the end there is sublime. Number 2, Wish You Were Here. Love that song. Love the album. I could have put Have a Cigar. That was one of the, I was debating between, what was it, Young Lust and Have a Cigar as kind of like the 4th song on this list, but I ended up going with Young Lust. But I could have gone with Have a Cigar because I love that. And then number 1, maybe it's a no-brainer, maybe it's not. It's Comfortably Numb from The Wall. The solo in that by David Gilmour is amazing. Obviously, Roger and David are trading vocals on that one and on Run Like Hell. So there you go. Not too shabby. Beat After Beat says his favorite song is Run Like Hell. Or is it Run Rabbit Run? I like Run Rabbit Run a little more. And Dylan is going with Comfortably Numb. Also, yeah, Another Brick in the Wall. I know that Another Brick in the Wall is the most kind of probably the most famous song from Pink Floyd. And it's great, but I guess I've just heard it enough in my time. So it's like, it was like one of those records that was always on rock radio in the 80s and the 90s, the classic rock radio, I should say. And I was just like, oh, not this song again. So, and Young Lust was like that a little bit in some ways too, that got burned out at classic rock radio over the last 30 plus years. So, but in the end, I'm just like, well, I'm going to put it on the list because I dig it. So there you go. Hey, if you're digging the show, make sure you smash the like button. That's all I ask. That's all I shall ask of you ever. Smash the like button. Other than driving me to the airport and helping me move, I'll let you know when I need you to help me to move and drive me to the airport. Now, I think everybody hanging out with us tonight, other than Dylan, is the only one locally that could possibly do this. And Dylan's probably like, Dylan, are you driving yet? I'm not sure if you're driving yet. Maybe you are, because I remember you used to always come over on your bike or your skateboard or something like that at the record store. So, but anyways, cool. You can just you can help me move. I'm not moving. I'm not going to the airport. I'm just having some fun there. So there you go. All right. This is Name That Tune. I will describe the scene and you try to name the movie and, wait for it, the song and the artist. Here we go. All right, cool. Hey, Darren, good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. I'm still here about that. So this is Name That Tune. So if you're listening on audio only, say on Spotify podcasts or on Apple podcasts, I'm going to kind of describe the scene to you a little bit. The idea is, what movie is this from? I've already said that again. I'm repeating myself. I say things over and over again. I'm redundant. And then the name of the artist, if you know the name of the artist, and the song. So if you want all 3 points, you got to get all 3. So, of course, you can always watch the show on YouTube and on Facebook, whether you want to rewind or watch it live or watch it, another time. So there you go. So the scene, let me describe the scene. It looks like it's in a warehouse. If you're listening to the show via podcast, it looks like it's in a warehouse. It looks like there's like I don't know, like large boxes or something that are kind of up, straight up and down on rollers, and they're wrapped. I don't know what they could be. They almost look like coffins. Actually, the one on the left almost looks like a coffin. There's a guy wearing a white shirt and black pants, and it looks like he's almost dancing. And there's another guy who may or may not be a police officer. It looks like he's tied up. And yeah, so there you go. Name that movie and the song. So there you go. Darren is right. Boom. It is Reservoir Dogs, one of my favorite movies of all time. In fact, a buddy of mine that I went and saw Edgefest with. Did I see Edgefest with him? Maybe it was another guy. But anyways, a buddy of mine really got into movies in like 1992. So it was a great year to be into movies because me and my friend saw Reservoir Dogs in the theaters when it came out because we just got into independent movies and it was like the perfect time. We saw Bad Lieutenant, which had Harvey Keitel in it. We saw that in the theaters. We saw another movie called Man Bites Dog. It was like a French film. Granny Snuff. It's completely bizarre. It's about a serial killer, and this film crew goes around filming the serial killer, except he kills, unfortunately, older people by yelling in their ears. It's a bizarre movie. What can I say? It's an independent film. But yeah, out of the three, I mean, Reservoir Dogs, me and Tim, after we saw this movie, we talked about this film for like 2 hours straight. It was just so amazing. So there you go. And Darren gets it, baby. Stuck in the Middle with You. And it is Steelers Wheel. Very nice, Darren. Very nice. Very nice. And I guess good attempt. Beat after beat, but beat after beat didn't know. You need to bone up on your Quentin Tarantino stuff. Beat after beat. There you go. And Dylan is not driving yet. So there you go. All right. Anything else as far as what's going on in the show tonight? Well, only really thing going on as far as concerts is Motley Crue. You know, there's really no concert announcements today of any kind of major proportions. So if you're in Vegas or you're headed to Vegas here between now and October 3rd, Motley Crue is doing their residency. Of course, at the beginning of the show, we talked about how Vince Neil had revealed he had a stroke last Christmas. So I'm glad that Vince is back. And we'll see how people make fun of Vince a little bit, all due respect to Vince. I love Vince about his vocals. So I don't know if this is going to have really much of an effect on his vocals. You know, it's still going to be, all right. Exactly. That's Vince, you know, you get what you get. So anyways, it should be fun. Motley Crue tonight, starting tonight in Vegas at the Residency. So that's kind of the show for tonight. What did we learn? We learned that Vince Neil had the stroke, and fortunately he's doing much, much better. We learned that Aerosmith's Pump is a much better record, at least in my opinion, and most other people's opinion, except for Beat After Beat. Is Aerosmith's Pump is a better record than Metallica's Death Magnetic. Both those albums came out the same day. What was 89 for Pump, and Death Magnetic came out in 2008. So it's been 17 years since Death Magnetic came out. We also learned that Pink Floyd is overcharging for a special edition of the 50th anniversary edition of Wish You Were Here on kind of a gold flame vinyl. Just kind of cool, in my humble opinion. And then finally, we learned that the best song from Pink Floyd is indeed Comfortably Numb. Though, Wish You Were Here is really good. Run Like Hell is really, really good. Goodbye Blue Sky, I love too. So there you go. That is that's the big show for today. I've got really nothing else. I hope you guys have a great weekend. A good football game last night that I couldn't watch because I don't have Amazon Prime anymore. I thought it was going to be on the NFL Network, but yeah, it is what it is. All these sports leagues are like, oh, you got to have Peacock, you got to have Netflix, you got to have YouTube TV, you got to have Amazon, you got to have, Rock This Town Records app. I think I'm close to securing the rights to Little League Baseball. out of Yakima, Washington. So that's going to be exclusively streaming on our YouTube channel. And I'm going to be so you'll have to sign up for, what is that going to be? $59.99 per month I'm going to charge for Yakima Little League Baseball. So I got that going for me, which is pretty nice. So anyways, hey, Rich, thanks for hanging out tonight. Beat after beat, Dylan. Also, Darren, good to see you. It's been fun. I'm going to have a wonderful weekend. I hope you do as well. And I'll see you back here on Monday. Ciao, Maine, everybody.